Yes, good morning, Mr. Mulla. It's Mr. Hussain.
Hello, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
I take it you've got my messages?
I have. I need to respond to them.
Yes. I'm just looking to get an update if there's been any further progress
Um,
on anything.
the answer is no.
Okay, all right. Well, you can see how how concerning that is to me. There's been no progress on your application to the courts
Well, I think there may have been some progress on there, but I don't know what the latest is on that one.
because when I've obviously spoken to legal, they said that it's nothing to do with legal. So, obviously, I believe that some sort of clandestine actions are being taken. Yeah, I mean, Mr. Mullah, how else can we explain the fact that when it served the local authorities' agenda, they managed to get within 1 week a court order suspending my lasting power of attorney for my mother and for both health and welfare and property and finance within a week. And in my brother's case now, when obviously you're controlling everything, it's been more than 6, 7 months now.
Yeah, like I say, I can assure you that we are applying to the court for
Okay, but why are you applying to the courts considering that my brother has mental capacity?
well, that's not for me to argue with you because that's something that legal are doing.
Yeah, I know, but the legal are also in the process of, as you know, taking these actions against my mother, lasting power of attorney, which is, as you can appreciate, it's discourteous and not in my mother's interest, and quite clearly not in my brother's interest, because in the absence of the court orders and you're still applying to the courts, there are various outstanding issues. Number one being that my brother Adala is holding on to all this money. All right, and that's obviously having an adverse effect for my brother Talib.
When he said last time, he said that you're not going to see any of that.
Yeah, you're not going to see it. I don't believe that you are. Have you managed to see any of it?
No.
Okay, all right. So and he's not incentivized to do anything now, is he? Because he's not even the deputy anymore. So obviously legal action needs to be taken against him, either by the office of the public guardian who have appointed him the deputy, or and his solicitors disappeared as well. I can't get in touch with the Rodney Noon. Okay, so that's just a complete mess, isn't it? But as far as it stands on paper, my brother Talib has got all this money, and so he's not entitled to certain free services. So on the one hand, where on paper it seems that he's got all this money, the reality he doesn't have access to it, which is adversely affecting him. So that's the first major issue that's not going to be resolved by you becoming the going through the courts and having control over Talib's becoming his deputy, is it?
Well, it will because we'll be then accessing his money from your brother.
But the reality is that I've told you that you're not going to get his money from his brother, and number one, and number two is that you didn't require such powers to take legal action against me for fraud as a council. So why are you refusing to equally take legal action against Adalat for doing exactly the same thing that you've convicted me for?
Well, that like I say, it's beyond my.
Yeah, I understand. But something that is within your remit and control is that whilst at present you are you're claiming to be the deputy, which is recognised by the DWP, but yet you're failing to make inquiries of what has happened to my brother's DLA money.
Like I say, we are working on that.
Well, I mean, you've been working on this for the best part of a year now. All right, and my concerns are that, as you know, my mother's mobility vehicle is questionable, and I'm using this mobility vehicle in addition to assisting my mother to provide Talib with social care. So, in the absence of in the absence of the mobility vehicle in my mother's name, I'm not readily. It's not going to be readily available for me to get a mobility vehicle in my brother Talib's name as it stands, because as it stands you can't even authorize me to take out a mobility vehicle using my brother's DLA money, because you don't even know if he's getting DLA. That's correct, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm gonna have to put the. Well, I'm gonna have to shorten the phone. I'll send you an email.
Okay, well, just 2 points, two further points, and we can look to end this call. The third point is I've still not received your legal authority that you said that you got a court stamped order, other than a COP 14 form with your signature. I'm still awaiting this. And finally, how much money is going to be available for Talib?
Well, he'll have the 115 that you normally get.
Well, I mean, he was getting £500 and then £250, and so where's the rest of his money?
The build-up, wasn't there?
Yeah, are you saying that he has no money? You're holding on to no money?
Well, no, I'm not saying that. All
What are you saying?
115 quid.
Yeah. When will that be available to Talib?
Well, it'll be Friday.
Okay, all right, but that's not sufficient for Talib's needs.
Well, that's all we're getting from DWP.
And how much of a hold up? How much money are you holding on to?
Don't know. I'm logged onto the system,
But that's all right. Can you please send that to me in email? And you shouldn't be holding on to any money.
yeah. Well, I'll send you this email, and then.
What's the email about?
Well, it's something that I need to send you.
Is it part of the court process?
It's not part of the court process, but it's what's been advised by.
Legal. And you're not even, or finally can tell me whom in legal, because obviously I've sent you an email from Marian Morahan stating that there's no one in legal dealing with this, and the only person that I should be liaising with this with yourself. So you've already received this email. You've not responded to that. You keep on telling me on the telephone that it's something illegal. When I'm contacting legal, nobody's willing to accept that it's somebody illegal. So we're just going around in circles, and every week that is going by is a week that me and my brother are suffering. Well, can you please send me also a copy of your legal authority to act on behalf of my brother? And could you release any money that you're holding that should be fully rather than getting us to live off of £115 a week? That's not enough to meet Talib's needs. Well, the DWP, and also my brother's entitled to disability living allowance. Well, you've been working on this. I'm sorry if I'm getting a bit exasperated, but you've had this case on your books since February, March last year. These are simple inquiries that could be made. My brother's not going to get a mobility vehicle, which he's entitled to, simply because of the jiggery pokery of everybody else. Adalat, the local authority, and or solicitors involved, and here's a vulnerable person suffering as a consequence. I'm getting a bit worked up. I'm just going to end this conversation. Please, can you look to disclose my brother's money, any held money by Friday, and also give us the authority of how you can act on his behalf. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Mulla.